Hi guys, and welcome to another video. I'm going to have to try and get this voiceover done as quickly as possible because my voice is quite dry right now and not holding up very well. So for this video, I'm inking a piece of artwork that I came up with maybe a couple of weeks ago. This video was supposed to be uploaded last week, but I completely messed up this inking and had to spend a few days trying to fix the errors. So let's start from the beginning in terms of explaining what this artwork is. A couple of weeks ago, I felt this great urge to just draw birds, so I googled birds, and the first one that caught my eye was, I think it's called the silver-breasted broadback, if I've got the name correct. And the bird was just so stunning, I had to Google it, and I found a bunch of pictures that were just absolutely stunning. I ended up creating the artwork that I'm doing today by putting together about 3 or 4 different reference photos. So then once I had done the initial sketch in blue, I scanned it into my computer and printed out the sketch on an A3 sheet of paper. I then placed an A3 sheet of the Frisk 280 GSM Bristol board on top of the printout and used a lightbox to help me trace the image onto the Bristol board. The lightbox is a new purchase for me. It's by Mway and I'll put a link to it in the description. So far it's been working perfectly. As you saw at the beginning of the video, it is touch sensitive, so you can touch it 3 times to get 3 different levels of the light, and the 4th time you touch the power button, it turns off. I've had no trouble tracing onto a 280 GSM paper, so I do think that the light is bright enough. The only question is how long this product will last. When I was reading the reviews for this product, I did see that there were a couple of reviews where the lightbox just didn't work at all, or it did work in the beginning, but then a month later it didn't work any longer. So whether I approve of this product will depend on how long it lasts. I've had it for about a week now and it seems to be working fine, but in saying that, a week isn't a very long time. So in about 6 months from now, I'll probably do a review on it. For the inking, I was using the Kuretake dip pen and nib set. I chose to use the Saji Nib after testing out the Maru and the G pen nib and finding that I didn't quite get the control and the effect that I wanted with those 2 nibs. The G pen nib didn't produce as thin a line as I wanted, and the Maru nib didn't produce the thickness that I wanted. The Saji nib is, I think, a good middle for getting the thick to thin variation that I was looking for. The inking process itself was spread out over about 3 days. So in the first day, I inked the bottom right hand corner bird, the bottom middle bird, and I started to ink the bird on the left hand side. And then I took a break, came back the next day, and all of a sudden I could not control the dip pen any longer. I wasn't able to reduce the shakiness in my hand, and also the ink inside the nib was pooling onto the paper, which didn't happen the day before. So I ended up with a couple of spots on the paper which needed to be edited out in Photoshop later on. I also made a ton load of mistakes, and ultimately I had no choice but to go to Photoshop and fix up the artwork. I currently don't have a drawing tablet, so I had no choice but to clean up on Photoshop using the touchpad on my laptop. As you can imagine, that was an incredibly difficult thing to do. There was no way I could just use the eraser tool and erase the mistakes out. Instead, I had to use the lasso tool in order to get the accuracy that I needed to do the cleanup. So initially when I was doing the cleanup, I had the intent of uploading that piece onto Etsy as a downloadable colouring book page. However, after doing some test prints onto A4 paper, I decided that maybe the line work was just a bit too thick for the purposes of a colouring book page. So afterwards I created another version of the image, this time inked using the Staedtler pigment liners, and that's the version that will end up going up on Etsy. In terms of final thoughts on how I think I did with the dip pen, I think I had a lot more control over it than the first time I had used it. There's actually a video of me using the dip pen for the first time, and honestly the inking is absolutely awful. I think it's titled My Inking Journey Week 1 maybe, but I'll link it at the top so you can see the difference in the way I had inked before and the way I am inking now. I think that's all I have to say for this video. Thank you guys for watching, and I will see you next time.